Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Laura Nelson. I'm Director of Marketing at Broadly.com, and we collaborate with local businesses like yours, including hospitality professionals, on their online presence and their client reviews. So every day, I get to talk with business owners just like you on the topics of standing out online and using your online presence to attract new clients. The information I cover today, it's catered toward professionals who work in hospitality. So perhaps you own a B&B, you might manage a tour operator or a travel agency, you may drive a limo. However, a lot of this can apply to you even if you're managing another business outside these categories. So what we're going to talk today is about how you can stand out online for the purposes of attracting new clients. This is the type of client that you want and the type that hopefully will be coming back. The goal here really is to grow your business. My goal today is to give you some concrete takeaways that you can put into practice right after this webinar. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. Questions feature. This is in the GoToWebinar panel. I want you to use it throughout the session, and at the end, I'm going to leave some time for Q&A. But where this panel can be found, it's on the right side of the GoToWebinar software, about halfway down. If it doesn't expand, you may need to click on that triangle to see this panel. This is the questions panel where you can interact with me. I'm going to address as many as I can as we go along and certainly make some time at the end, as I mentioned. Next, recording. We get this question a lot. The recording of the session will be available to you after the session. So look out for that in your email. Finally, follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @GetBroadly. Also, you can reach me at laura@broadly.com. Again, I'll share that at the end along with my phone number. But here it is, just in case you want it now. With that, we'll get started. So here you are. This is a picture of a local business owner. His name is Craig Cooper of Pink's Catering in Oakland, California. Maybe like Craig, you've been in business for years. Maybe you have a huge book of business, or maybe you're just starting out and you're looking to land your first clients in the coming weeks and months. In any scenario, you have a staff. You maybe got an office or equipment. Maybe you're paying rent or you've got a mortgage to pay. It really depends on the type of business, right? Regardless, you have bills to pay. Whether you're a veteran or the new guy or gal in town, you know that the success of your business really hinges on your clientele. So as I mentioned, I talk to business owners all day, and many of them say referrals and word of mouth bring them the best clients in their respective communities. But you may say, as they tell me, there probably isn't enough of that. So how do you drive more word of mouth? How do you get more of your happy clients to go online and talk about your business? First, it all starts with understanding who your clients are. Who are they? As a marketer, I like to think about your clients as modern consumers. So here's an example. I'll call her Elsie. She's the typical modern consumer of 2017. Elsie's married. She lives in Oakland, California. She owns a house. She has a couple kids. She works full-time as a school teacher and is involved with the PTA. You might find that Elsie resembles you in many ways, or maybe she resembles your average client. Elsie's very well connected. She needs an answer to everyday questions. She's going to start with Google. She's looking for a restaurant. She may start her search with Yelp. She's booking a vacation. She's not going to make any decisions until she advises, until she checks out TripAdvisor. The reality is, today the internet, it's now in our pockets. We no longer have to be tech savvy to utilize it in our everyday lives. So even if you don't consider yourselves to be the most tech savvy, I can assure you that your clients are. They're very well connected. So when somebody like Elsie or you or I need to solve a problem and find a local business, whether that be a pediatric dentist for kids, a roofer to repair a leak at home, or to cater an upcoming event, we're asking our friends for recommendations. Or we may do this. We may turn to our smartphones or computers for more information. We're not alone. In fact, 80% of consumers will use a search engine like Google to find that local information. So how does a business ensure it's showing up in that local search? How does it ensure it's chosen by local consumers? The rapidly changing environment, like the one we're operating in today, it can be really tough. So let's take a look at what that search looks like, right? You're probably familiar with this screen. You've probably done this dozens, hundreds, thousands of times before. Then to solve our immediate needs, we're going to Google. So let's say Elsie in our scenario is looking for a caterer in Oakland, and she's not sure who to call. She may start with this page. Let's just take a look at what comes up in her local search. You're familiar with this already, no doubt. When you do a search in Google like this, toward the top, you'll see a map with 3 choices. We call this the Google 3-pack. You'll also see a bunch of links. You might see some ads above this 3-pack. And you'll definitely see some links below this 3-pack. We call those organic search results. So if you're to type in the category of your business and your area, hopefully you're showing up among these 3 top choices. Your competitors, no doubt, are. So take a look at this example in Oakland. There's a lot of competition in the area for catering business. But who are you going to choose? What stands out here? If you look closely among these options, something stands out. We have a couple 5-star businesses here. If you're going to spend your hard-earned money, you want it to be well spent. So that leaves us with Sunnyside and Pink's. However, you may notice already that 2 5-star businesses aren't always equal. You may have noticed that 45 people have taken the time to write about Pink's and their experience. So in our eyes, that may be a differentiating factor. The choice is clear. If you're the typical modern consumer like Elsie, your eyes are drawn to that. And you're probably going to start your search with Pink's. So these reviews, they really help differentiate that choice. So what are these stars? How do you get them? If you're not familiar with Google's review system already, these are reviews written by Google's users. In other words, these are people who have Google accounts like Gmail. So how do you get a client to go here and write you a review? It's hard, but it's not impossible. But these reviews, they're super important to consumers. In fact, consumer opinion is driving decision making. 88% of people are trusting these online reviews written by other consumers as much as they're trusting that referral from actual friends and family members. So in other words, what you and I are learning about local businesses on Google, Facebook, Yelp, that's just as important to us as what our friends are saying. So reviews matter. And if you're a 5-star business like Pink's, reviews are going to drive some revenue. So how does a business owner play a proactive role when opinions are crowdsourced by local consumers and seemingly out of one's control? That's really what I'm here to talk with you about today. In today's environment, it's increasingly important to build up an online reputation that matches the quality of services that you're providing. So how do you build that 5-star reputation? I get that question each and every day. Just as you had to be listed in the phone book some time ago, today you have to be easily accessed by customers like Elsie on a smartphone, on a laptop. And maybe you're thinking, hey, Laura, I already know that. That's why I'm here. I know I need to be online. I just need to know how I get there, where to place my bets, and what it's going to cost me. The internet is complicated and the world is changing at an increasingly rapid pace. You may have noticed that in your time doing business already. Yes, you're going to have to deal with Google and with Yelp and others, and there are algorithms that determine search results that we can't always quite nail down. There's a lot of options when it comes to advertising online or paying various types of web consultants. But I know there are things that you can do to give yourself and your business a really powerful boost online in a really cost-effective way. A huge part of that is understanding how to get those clients to do your marketing for you. We'll get to that in a few moments, but what I really want to start with first are the most important pages and websites for your business. So what are they? They're your Google business listing. They're your Yelp profile. It includes your Facebook business page, along with your website. All of these pages working together is going to form a strong foundation for your business's online presence. And you may be thinking, hey, I don't read reviews. It doesn't matter. Again, the stats prove this out. Your clients are, and so are the clients that you're trying to attract. And what's more, if they get a recommendation from a friend, they're still going online to look you up and to learn more. So why these 4 pages? Nothing's going to rival them in terms of being found and chosen by the type of client you're trying to attract. These pages are where the eyeballs are. So the first thing that you must do, if you haven't done it already, is to set up your Google business page. So let's start here. Let's talk about Google. Most people are familiar with how to use Google. It's pretty simple, right? We walked through the basic mechanics of that local search. However, if you're a B2B, a caterer, a tour operator, and more, if you're operating any kind of business and you're trying to stand out online, the mechanics of Google get more complex. The algorithm changes, as I mentioned, it changes constantly, and it's tough to keep up with those changes. But there are fundamental things that you can do that will ensure your business looks great on a Google search. And we're going to walk through those. So let's take a look at a Google listing. This is what it looks like if you're searching for a business by name, that Google listing that I mentioned pops up on the right. Almost every business has a Google listing. And if you don't think you have one, it might look like this. It's got a photo of your location. It's got some basic information that Google assumes to be true, but it's generally a blank slate. This is a free listing provided by Google to help connect consumers to businesses like yours. And it literally puts your business on the map. So let's take a closer look. This is an example of an unclaimed business listing. There's opportunities here to provide more information for that local consumer. For instance, you can add photos. You can see that that's started to happen with this listing already. You can verify address and your phone number. You can suggest changes to that information that Google is assuming can be true. And add business hours as well. You can also collect great client feedback in the form of reviews that tie right to that business listing. Every business owner has the opportunity to claim this listing or create one if it doesn't exist today. So if you've gone through all of those steps, what should that look like? Let's take a look at that Google listing and see what it looks like post-claiming, post-optimization. This is what it looks like when you've improved that Google listing. You checked out Pink's Catering in Oakland, and let's see why it's among the top choices for that local search I showed you earlier. So note how the photos, additional information, and client reviews have provided real context for that listing. The Pinks has added great photos of their work that are front and center on that listing. They've generated 46 Google reviews. They've added their opening hours. They've offered other prospective clients a reason to trust them. This listing looks great. So I want to talk about how this business has 46 Google reviews. Now, I get this question asked a lot. How many Google reviews should I really have? What's reasonable for my type of business? And what's reasonable for my area? And the answer to that all really depends. You might need more than 46 reviews if you're in a competitive area and in a competitive industry. You might not need as many as 46. The question really depends on what your competitors are doing and how you want to show up. I will say this, though. The first couple reviews you get, they're always going to be suspect. We know that they come from family and friends. So you're going to need to extend beyond that network to get some actual feedback from real clients. The goal really is to develop some social proof, some authenticity about that client experience with your business. When I look at reviews like these, I'm trusting what I'm learning about the client experience at the salon. The updates that I pointed out on that Google listing are the must-dos that make a difference between a business that is just standing out online versus one that is just simply listed. So I want to pause and acknowledge I do not work for Google. I'm not here to plug Google, but what I'm here to do is to help you understand that this is an opportunity to have a really great first impression. There's relevant and useful information about your business here. So this is a win. It's something you should be excited about. And again, if you don't have that Google listing set up yet, that's the first thing that I want you to do next for your business. So next, I want to shift gears, talk a little bit about Yelp. I bet a lot of you have experience with Yelp. This is perhaps the most popular review platform. I talk with business owners all day who have some serious misperceptions about the Yelp platform, specifically around what you need to pay for to take advantage of it. So I want to clarify a few of those things for you guys today. You can take advantage of your profile in Yelp for free. More specifically, it's free to claim your page. It's free to provide a bio, photos, and additional content on your page. Also free to add your hours, address, website, contact info. You don't need to pay Yelp to do any of these things on your page. What's more, you can't pay Yelp to get that part that matters most, right? Those are those great client reviews. So remember, why are people going to Yelp in the first place? It's a popular review site. They're going to read about your reviews. So just as I mentioned with the Google listing, it's critical that you claim and take ownership of that page. So here's a good example of what that page looks like once it's claimed and improved. I'm going to walk through some of the most important elements. First and foremost, your business name and your star rating. So quite simply, how are your clients scoring their experience with you and your staff? When prospective clients are looking you up on a site like Yelp, especially, this is where their eyes really are going first. So make sure those ratings are reflective of that service that you provide. So next, your contact information. Again, this is all free to update. So make sure that those prospective clients know how they can get in touch with you. Just get your address right, verify your phone number, add your website. Next, your business photo. Another free aspect of this listing. Take advantage of it. If you're B&B, share pictures with your space, as this example has. Show off your staff. If you're in the limo business, show off your fleet. If you're a caterer, show off some of the amazing creations that you deliver to your clients. Yelpers love photos, so take advantage of what you can provide here on your free listing. Next, your business hours. Believe it or not, this is a critical part of your Yelp listing. Not just for the obvious reasons, but also because Yelp has a filter that enables users to filter out the businesses that are not open. So if you're on call for 24 hours, you can reflect that in Yelp. Of course, be on call when that client calls overnight. There's advantages to showing up in that filter, but make sure that it reflects the actual operation of your business. To walk through some of the front end features of the Yelp listing, I want to take you a little under the hood as well and show you what it looks like behind the scenes. So when you've claimed your page, you're going to get access to this dashboard. These are your page statistics. When you log in, this is that dashboard that you're going to see. So how do you access this? You can visit biz.yelp.com. That's B-I-Z as in zebra, .yelp.com. So this is the example of the Broadly page. It includes a summary of everything that's happened on our page for the last few months. You'll see the number of visitors our page has gotten and where they've gone from there. You can see the details of that on the activity feed. And on the left side, you're going to see that menu of options. This is where you can update your business information. This is where you can add those photos. And probably most importantly, this is where you can see those reviews. This is also where you can respond to those reviews. So again, as I mentioned, I talk with business owners all of the time who have misconceptions about how they can interact with your Yelp profile and the free things they can do with their pages. I want to underscore that this account doesn't advertise with Yelp and doesn't need to in order to take advantage of all these great free features. In other words, you can be a 5-star business on Yelp without paying for it. So next, let's hop over to Facebook. You probably have a personal account already, and you might be wondering, so how does a Facebook hospitality business like mine engage to local consumers platform? They spend a lot of time on the platform. And the reality today is that you will need to, as a business owner as well. Some of your new clients might even rely on Facebook to get recommendations from their friends. Also, your happy clients will be talking about your business and referring you to their friends. They might even be rating your business on Facebook already. So really, you'll want a place for all of those conversations to refer to. As with Google and Yelp, every business can set up a page on Facebook for free. There's a few things I want to point out here. As with those pages, you can add some great photos. You can get client ratings. You can list your hours, your contact info, definitely link your website. And you can also take advantage of Facebook messaging. You see that send message above the website link here. It's a really great way to answer questions that come in from that prospective client. Response time is super important, to these type of users. If you're an avid Facebook user and you enjoy sharing your expertise, feel free to do that as well on Facebook. Because Facebook is another way to be present, where your clients are hanging out, where they're telling their friends about experiences with businesses that they love. I hope yours is among them. We've covered some of the fundamentals on the important consumer pages like Google, Yelp, Facebook, and all of these pages, if they're set up correctly, they're going to link directly back to your business website. Your website is still critical. This is your business's home online. It's where you have full control over your story. This is where your prospective clients are going to go to learn more about you and your services and your team. So don't ignore it. I want to walk you through some of the most important elements of a strong website. You use this example in the limousine industry, Con Limousine Service. Let's point out a few of the things that make this a successful website. For one, make sure that it's inviting. This one's got a great picture in the hero area and some very bold font. and we know exactly what they're doing when we land on the homepage. Next, create an easy to follow navigation. What do I mean by navigation? Those are the options along the top about reservations, wedding, airport transport, and more. This just makes it really easy for visitors to get in touch with you, to learn more, to see if their problems are going to be solved by you. Photography here, it makes a world of difference in the hospitality business, no matter whether you're a B&B, limo service, a caterer. You've got a lot of options to show off your work, and that should really be front and center on your website. One of the most important aspects of your website really should be its mobile friendliness. So more than half of Google searches are done on mobile devices, and that includes not only smartphones, but also tablets. So if you're not sure if your website is mobile friendly, there's a tool on Google that will help you find this out. So write this link down or do a Google search for Google mobile friendly test. This is going to provide you with that information. It's really important to have a mobile friendly site because Google's search algorithm is going to penalize your website if it is not mobile friendly. It's going to show your competitors who are mobile friendly above your website. So again, super important, cannot stress this enough. So let's dig deeper into some of the important pages on your website. So first, talk about what your specialties are. In the case of this example, weddings, airport transport, nights out, prom, front and center. How are you working with your clients, and how can you help those prospective clients? The best websites clearly and explicitly outline how you're going to pamper and treat your clients. Next, talk about who you are. This is one of your most important pages. It's okay to talk about your experience here. So your story of you, of your business, can go a long way to humanize your business in the eyes of a potential client. We recommend photos of yourself or your team, either in your location or in this case, on the road. Let your clients begin to build a trusted relationship with that story. Next, and I hope this is no surprise to you, reviews or client testimonials. This is the most important page on your website. This portion is crucial. So remember that stat, 88% of people are trusting these online reviews as much as those recommendations from friends. Reviews are helping your business build that trust, providing that social proof that you are who you say you are. So share those great client testimonials and reviews on your website as well. So you may have noticed this already. Interestingly enough, reviews are the common thread that all of these pages have today in common. You really want to get reviews on Google, as they'll help you be found. You've got to get reviews on Yelp, as your profile's only as strong as your rating and the number of reviews that you have. You want to enable your clients to rate and refer your business on Facebook. And you want to showcase your reviews on your website, where those prospective clients are going to go and read more about you. So they'll make or break your business, period. You may be wondering, okay, great, I get it. I'm sold. How do I get reviews? How do I get real ones from my clients beyond those friend and family reviews? Now, I referenced this a little bit earlier when I talked about getting your best clients to do your marketing for you. This is the point at which you get proactive. What do I mean by that? So what you need to do is create a system to thank your clients and ask about their experiences. Find out, are they satisfied with the service you provided, or is there a lingering issue that you need to fix with them? You won't either until you ask them. This needs to be an automatic part of wrapping up a service with them. So some of you may be thinking, especially if you're not doing this already, you may be thinking that this is scary, and you're right. You may find this a scary aspect to incorporate into your follow-up with customers or into your engagement with customers. If you haven't done this before, you might feel nervous to try. You might be thinking, hey, what if they say something bad? What if I'm putting this idea in their heads to complain? What if I'm bothering them by asking? And the reality today is that it doesn't really matter. You have to do this anyway. You have to signal to your clients that you care. And the good news is that if you're running a good and honest business, the majority of your clients, they're satisfied. If you make it easy enough for them, you're going to start getting their 5-star feedback once you go in and make that ask. I'm going to talk about the ways that you can do this. So how does this work? You can follow up with your clients in a few different ways. One, you can ask for feedback in person, or you can call them on the phone at a later time. Another alternative, you can send them an email or a text message, electronic methods. Or you can send them something like a postcard or survey in the mail. Lots of different ways you can engage and get this valuable feedback. The important thing that you need to determine is what's going to work best for your business. You might need to ask yourself, okay, which of these methods are my clients most likely to respond to? I want to cover some of the advantages of each of these ways. Asking in person. You've probably experienced this scenario already. Maybe you're dining out, the server checks in, asks how the food is tasting. Maybe the chef makes a cameo. This happens all the time, right? So in this scenario, you're put right on the spot. You're asked to let them know in real time what you think. So what do? Do you give them honest feedback? Or do you tell them what you think that they want to hear? If the chef hears great feedback from you and your party, what does he or she do with it? Think about that. So the good word, it evaporates into thin air in that moment. So think about that approach in the context of your own business, and whether taking it upon yourself or asking your team to do this, to ask clients for feedback in person, will do that job alone. There's some real advantages here, right? You're making eye contact, you're making the ask personal. The downside, though, is that the client may not feel comfortable providing that feedback in person. They might not tell you exactly what's on their minds. So let's take a look at another option. Paper feedback forms. You might be distributing these already. I've gotten them in my own experience at the conclusion of a day-long or a multi-day-long tour. I'm asked to fill out my feedback onto that paper form. They're also distributed after medical visits. You know, how many people actually complete these forms that you receive in the mail? I get great medical care. I get the same survey every time, and unfortunately, I haven't filled this out one time, despite the quality of care I've received. The issue here is that surveys in general don't have a high engagement rate. Many of them are too impersonal, they're too long, it can be too big of an ask. So I really want to challenge you today to think about a better way. Even if your clients are engaging with this kind of survey, and maybe you're doing that in person to ensure that they do, that information is not translating to Google, to Facebook, to your website's testimonial page. It's giving you information, but it's not providing any kind of social proof that you're trusted, that you provide a quality service. So think about that, and let's consider a better way. There's a real advantage with something like email. It's inexpensive, it's immediate, but it's not too intrusive. So something like a simple thank you email or automated text that comes from you after you engage with the client with a similar ask or a simpler ask will be much easier for your clients to respond to. Using an electronic method like email, that enables you to include your links to Google, to Yelp, to your Facebook page, and it can make it a lot easier for your client to engage. As I said, you can't really do that with a paper survey, and it's even more difficult to do with a phone call. So there are effective ways to do this, and there are ways that are less so. This is one of our specialties at Broadly, so we can talk about the specifics at a later date. The importance I'm trying to stress here is that by putting a system in place that works, you'll start to get great client reviews. Getting those reviews means that you're going to start showing up higher in those local search results, and ultimately, you're going to shine online. So I do want to circle back to that chef example for just a minute, just to emphasize one thing. I mentioned offhand that the good news evaporated into thin air. After all, you're having that one-on-one conversation with the chef, and unfortunately, none of the chef's prospective customers heard about your experience. So for this reason, I think it's important to make that personal when you're with the client. Make that ask personal with your client. Ask them or give them a heads up that you will be following up for their feedback. However, it's best to finish that conversation electronically. To develop a system to follow up with that ask, so that great feedback can be shared with many across the sites that matter most to your new clients. One last thing on the topic of feedback. I want to talk about the issue of negative feedback for a minute. Maybe you already know from experience how much a negative review can hurt, especially when Yelp or Google won't take those reviews down, even when they're false. It also hurts when other potential clients see that as useful in their search. Hiding from this is not an option. So if you haven't seen your page, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Also, doing nothing can lead to very few reviews in general. And many times it's the people who don't have something nice to say who are the first to run online and write a negative review. So here's the deal. How do you combat those negative reviews? The best strategy to combat a negative review is to get more positive reviews. Those one-star reviews make less and less of an impact when they're surrounded by loads of 4- and 5-star reviews from your happy clients. The goal here, again, is to become recognized as a 5-star business. We talked about a lot today, but these are the fundamental things that you can do to ensure that your business is showing up where your clients are looking for you. The goal really is become that 5-star business. Attract those types of clients that you want. This also enables you to charge prices for the services that your 5-star business commands, and it establishes you as the premium choice in your area. So I hope it was useful, and I hope it was clear that feedback and reviews really are the currency of the internet today. As promised, I'm concluding with my contact info before we dive into questions. A little bit of background about Broadly, while I take in your questions, is that we're not an advertising company. We built a system for generating online reviews and getting the positive reviews on Google, on Facebook, on Yelp, and on your website, where they can be found and where you can be chosen. But we also have a mechanism that enables you to keep negative feedback offline and to get that to you privately. That enables you to follow up with your clients personally and get the opportunity to make things right in those scenarios. So if you'd like to learn more about that, we can take a look at your pages. We can give you some pointers on how to improve. It's definitely worth a couple minutes of your time. Until then, though, let's dive into some Q&A. Again, use that panel on GoToWebinar for questions to submit your questions. I've had a couple come through, so I will begin to address those now. Melanie asks, how do I prevent negative reviews? Good question, Melanie. This is tough to do, especially in scenarios where you don't have a proactive follow-up strategy in place. There are a few options for you, and one of the options, I'll describe how Broadly does this, is to first find out which of your clients are happy. What our platform does is asks about the client experience, directs happy clients to your review pages with one click. But when it identifies unhappy clients, it takes them to a private feedback form. What that does is it collects the feedback elsewhere. It enables you to make things right, and it keeps them away from your public page. So speedy follow-up and management of that situation where a client may not be initially happy with the services you provided, that enables you to catch the problem before it bubbles over, over the course of a few days. So that's just one way. Stu asked, similar topic on the issue of negative reviews. What should I do when I do encounter a negative review, either on my Google page or on my Yelp page? We see this from time to time. And the important thing here is to, if you haven't been able to get out ahead of it and that client has left you negative feedback online, is to engage with it. You want to respond in a calm, rational manner And what I recommend is to provide your contact information and commitment to make things right with that client. It's not worth getting into a back and forth exchange with the client online where others will see it, but it is important to show others that you're dedicated to making things right with the situation. So make your response professional and offer a few options to get in touch and resolve the situation, and then take it offline and do that for your clients. You'll be surprised to see how many prospective clients see that response and choose you based on how you respond to a negative review. I think I have time for one more question, and it's a good one. George is asking about the difference between investing in Google pay-per-click ads versus building up a Google reviews presence. When I talk with business owners day to day about the trade-offs they're making in terms of their marketing investments, and some are interested in pursuing pay-per-click, which may be right for your business as well, but it really depends on the level of budget you're willing to commit to it, and the traffic that you can potentially see from that, and your timeline in terms of experimenting. So I will say that PPC campaigns are, again, right for some businesses, but it can take time to figure out which search terms and which areas make sense for your business. And along with that time, it does require a certain level of investment. So if you aren't willing to dedicate the time and investment necessary to optimize those search terms, it might not be the right investment for you. I will say, though, that you must have a great Google profile before even pursuing that. If you haven't done the basics with your Google listing, if you don't have a great Google reputation, those are the things that you should be doing first before pursuing a PPC campaign. And then it is about evaluating your time, your resources, and whether it's an appropriate tactic for your particular business. So I think that covers the questions that I have gotten in this session, but again, feel free to give me a call, write me a note with your questions on any of the topics we've covered, or if you'd like to learn more about Broadly. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope that this was useful and worth your time. We'll be following up with the video. Have a great day.